Imagine looking up into the clouds and seeing what looks like a flying armchair or a literal inflatable rubber boat soaring right over your head. Have you ever wondered how some of the most ridiculous, makeshift-looking contraptions actually manage to defy gravity? Today, we are exposing 10 bizarre flying machines, some built in backyards, others designed with downright crazy engineering. They look like absolute amateur hour, but are fully functioning aircraft. Stay with me until the very end, because the last one isn't just a plane, it is a creature that escaped the highway and took to the skies. Now, if you love bizarre machines and incredible engineering, hit that subscribe button for more unbelievable machines like these. Let's fire them up. Starting off our list at number 10 is a machine that proves aerodynamics are just a suggestion. The Evans VP-1 Volksplane, designed in the late 1960s by a former aeronautical engineer named William Evans. This aircraft was meant to be the ultimate affordable backyard build. Instead of using a high-dollar aviation engine, Evans went to the junkyard. He pulled a standard Volkswagen Beetle flat-4 engine, bolting a propeller directly to the crankshaft. It produces just 40 horsepower, making it one of the weakest engines to ever power an airplane. If you told a designer to create the least aerodynamic, blockiest flying brick possible, they would probably hand you the blueprints to a Volksplane. It is completely open cockpit and built almost entirely out of marine-grade plywood and spruce, meaning it feels more like a flying lumberyard than an aircraft. Builders primarily use these for low and slow recreational flying around local airfields. When you sit exposed to the wind in this wooden box, cruising at a blistering 75 miles per hour feels terrifyingly fast, giving pilots the ultimate raw flying experience. The craziest part about the Volksplane is that Evans designed it so simply that anyone with basic woodworking tools could build it in a standard single-car garage. People literally glued these together in their living rooms before towing them to the airstrip. It is a true testament to the idea that if you have enough thrust and a decent wing, you can make a wooden brick fly. However, if strapping a Volkswagen car engine to a wooden box sounds sketchy, wait until you see what people built when they had absolutely nothing. Coming in at number 9 is the legendary Pete and Pole Air Camper, an aircraft born out of pure desperation and ingenuity. Picture this. It is 1932. The Great Depression has crippled America, and nobody can afford expensive aviation parts. A self-taught mechanic named Bernard Pete and Pole decided to build his own plane out of stuff found at the local hardware store. For power, he literally took a 40-horsepower liquid-cooled 4-cylinder engine right out of a Ford Model A automobile and retrofitted it to turn a wooden propeller up in the sky. The Air Camper is a 2-seat parasol monoplane built out of spruce and covered in lightweight fabric. Visually, it looks like a fragile wooden crate suspended under a massive wing with a heavy car radiator exposed right in front of the pilot's face. This heavy cast-iron tractor-like engine had absolutely no business being in an airplane, but farmers and backyard mechanics used it specifically because it was cheap, reliable, and easily repairable. Flying a Pete and Pole meant you could fix your airplane with the exact same wrench you used on your tractor. The ultimate joke among mechanics is that the greatest car Henry Ford ever built ended up taking to the skies thanks to a woodworker from Minnesota. Flying this machine is pure, unfiltered mechanical joy. You can hear every valve ticking and watch the exposed radiator boiling water right in front of you. Now, if you think that putting a heavy cast-iron car engine into a wooden plane makes for a terrifyingly heavy aircraft, our number 8 spot takes backyard engineering into the exact opposite direction with a terrifyingly lightweight metal skeleton. Our number 8 spot is the Milholland Legal Eagle, and it takes the concept of backyard engineering to an obsessive bare-bones extreme. Leonard Milholland wanted to build an aircraft that bypassed all heavy government regulations by fitting into the strict experimental ultralight category. To do that legally, the entire aircraft had to weigh less than 254 pounds empty. To achieve this, builders use a half VW engine. They literally take a Volkswagen flat-4 engine, cut the engine block completely in half with a hacksaw, and run it as a 30-horsepower two-cylinder. The Legal Eagle is nothing more than a welded chromoly steel tube frame covered in lightweight fabric, looking like a fragile metal skeleton with wings. There is no cockpit, there are no doors, and there is not even a solid floorboard beneath your boots. It is used strictly for fair weather, low-altitude cruising over open farmland. You are essentially strapping your body directly to an open metal frame. You sit completely exposed to the elements, looking right past your dangling boots at the spinning earth 1,000 feet below your seat. Building a Legal Eagle requires a builder to obsess over every single ounce. Guys will actually drill holes in their wrenches and bolts just to save a fraction of a pound to meet the strict legal weight limit. It is an absolute masterpiece of mechanical subtraction and raw bravery. You have to trust your own welding skills with your life. But if sitting on a bare metal frame high in the sky sounds insane, our number 7 spot shrinks the whole flying concept down to a terrifyingly small and cramped scale. Shrinking things down to the extreme, we have the Luciole MC-30 at number 7. Designed by French aeronautical genius Michel Colomban, this microplane was engineered to be the absolute smallest, most efficient twin-cylinder aircraft possible. The entire wingspan is just 23 feet, and the plane weighs a hilarious 214 pounds empty. But the power plant is what makes it truly bizarre. Power comes from a V-twin Briggs & Stratton Vanguard commercial engine. The exact same industrial motor used in heavy-duty riding lawnmowers and portable generators, tuned to just 25 horsepower. Visually, the Luciole looks exactly like a scale model you would buy at a hobby shop, but it is built to carry a full-grown adult pilot. The cockpit is so impossibly tight and narrow that you do not climb into this aircraft. You basically put it on like a tight pair of jeans. Despite looking like a fragile plastic toy, it is highly aerodynamic and used by private pilots for cross-country flights. Capable of hitting over 120 miles per hour on less than 2 gallons of fuel per hour. The sheer audacity of taking a heavy-duty lawnmower engine, bolting it to a tiny composite shell, and outrunning highway traffic in the sky is mind-blowing. Pilots who fly the Luciole say that every minor gust of wind feels like a massive roller coaster drop because the aircraft is so incredibly light. It is literally a lawnmower that conquered the clouds. However, if feeling cramped inside a tiny enclosed cockpit gives you intense claustrophobia, our number 6 spot completely rips away the walls to give you an open-air thrill ride like no other. Taking the number 6 spot is the Ranz 18 Stinger II, an aircraft that completely redefines the meaning of open-air flying. Introduced in the 1990s, it was designed for pilots who wanted maximum visibility and the rawest connection to the wind. Power comes from a lightweight Rotax two-stroke engine, pushing out about 50 horsepower. However, it utilizes a pusher propeller design, meaning the screaming two-stroke engine and the spinning propeller sit directly behind your head, blasting exhaust and deafening noise backward while pushing the entire lightweight frame forward through the air. Imagine taking a high-speed racing tricycle, attaching long glider wings to the top, and bolting a powerful engine to the rear axle. That is exactly what the Stinger II looks like. There is absolutely no fuselage enclosing you. You are strapped into a bucket seat sitting completely ahead of the wing, with nothing between you and the open sky but a tiny polycarbonate windshield. Used primarily for aerial photography and sightseeing, it feels less like flying an airplane and much more like riding a flying motorcycle straight off a high cliff. The visibility in a Stinger II is absolute, but so is the terrifying exposure. Pilots talk about the sheer adrenaline rush of coming in for a landing, watching the runway asphalt rush up right between their feet with nothing to protect them. One wrong move and you are eating bugs at 70 miles per hour. Now, before we move into the top 5 most extreme flying machines, if you respect real mechanical grit, hit that like button and subscribe to help the algorithm show this video to more hardcore gearheads like you. Stepping up the insanity at number 5, we have the undisputed king of death-defying backyard builds, the Benson B-8 gyrocopter, invented by Igor Benson in the 1950s. This machine was designed to bring rotorcraft flying to the working-class man. Unlike a helicopter, a gyrocopter does not power its top main rotor directly. Instead, a screaming McCulloch target drone engine bolted to the back pushes the aircraft forward, and the wind passing upward through the top blades causes them to spin and create lift. A terrifyingly brilliant aerodynamic phenomenon known as auto-rotation. Visually, the Benson B-8 looks exactly like what it is: a cheap lawn chair strapped to an aluminum pole with a massive unpowered rotor blade spinning above your head. There is no cabin, no walls, and zero protection. Everyday guys bought blueprints from the back pages of popular mechanics magazines and built these flying lawn chairs in their residential garages. Used mostly for extreme weekend thrill-seeking, these open-air gyrocopters require the pilot to rely entirely on constant forward momentum to stay airborne. If you lose your forward speed, you fall like a stone. Riding in a Benson takes serious guts, because you are trusting your life to a homemade metal mast and the wind. Benson himself was a mad genius who routinely tested his initial prototypes by having his friends tow him behind a speeding car down a dirt road until he lifted off. It is a masterpiece of dangerous mid-century engineering. But what if you did not just want an unpowered rotor? What if you wanted to build a complex, fully powered helicopter right in your driveway? Our number 4 spot delivers exactly that. Coming in at number 4 is the Rotorway Scorpion II, a machine born from the insane dream of building a personal helicopter in a suburban garage. In the 1970s, Rotorway sold this incredible machine as a mail-order kit. You would receive heavy crates of metal tubing and a massive water-cooled engine, and it was entirely up to you to weld and assemble your own chopper. It was eventually powered by Rotorway's custom-built massive 4-cycle liquid-cooled engine, putting out an impressive 133 horsepower to turn a complex main rotor. Building a fixed-wing plane is hard enough, but a helicopter requires absolute mechanical obsession. Visually, the Scorpion II looks like a stripped-down bare-metal skeleton of a military scout chopper with an exposed engine block and a bulbous fiberglass nose shield. It was designed for private citizens who wanted the ultimate point-to-point utility vehicle without paying millions for a factory helicopter. You had to fabricate the steel frame yourself, perfectly align the sensitive tail rotor belt, and carefully balance the heavy main rotor blades using nothing but standard garage hand tools. The level of danger here is off the charts. Seeing a home-built Scorpion hovering above a concrete driveway is a testament to the fact that gearheads will stop at nothing to conquer complex engineering. Even if it means risking their lives on a homemade transmission, if a single welded bolt failed in flight, it was game over. Now, if building a garage helicopter proves the madness of modern mechanics, our number 3 spot takes us back in time to a bizarre, massive mechanical bird that actually fought in a world war. At number 3, we take a step back into history with a machine that looks so weird it feels like it should not exist. The Ettrick Taube, designed in 1910 by Ignaz Ettrick. This was built long before modern aerodynamics were fully understood. Pioneers looked directly at nature for inspiration, shaping this massive aircraft exactly like a flying Xanonia seed pod. Instead of using modern hinged flaps or ailerons, the pilot had to physically warp and bend the entire wooden wing structure, using a complex system of heavy cables to turn the plane. To the modern eye, the Taube, which translates to dove in German, looks completely amateurish. It resembles a giant, bizarre kite made of stretched canvas, bamboo, and steel tubing, featuring sweeping bird-like wings and a fan-shaped tail. Despite its makeshift appearance, it was incredibly stable in the air. In fact, it was so successful that it served as the first mass-produced military aircraft for Germany and Austria right before World War I. It was utilized as a deadly reconnaissance tool and an early bomber, dropping small munitions by hand over enemy lines. The Taub proves that sometimes the craziest-looking designs are actually the most effective, because the wings were completely translucent canvas. Early enemy soldiers on the ground often could not even spot the aircraft against a cloudy sky, making it a terrifyingly stealthy mechanical bird. It is a brilliant piece of historical engineering that defies all modern logic. But if an aircraft shaped like a giant plant seed bends the strict rules of aviation, our number 2 spot takes a heavy marine vehicle and shatters those rules completely. Shattering the rules entirely at number 2 is the FIB, or the Flying Inflatable Boat. Developed by Polaris Motor in Italy, this machine answers a question absolutely nobody was asking. Someone looked at a heavy-duty Zodiac rubber boat, the exact kind used by Coast Guards for deep-sea rescues, and decided it needed to fly. They attached a massive reinforced hang glider wing to a metal mast above the boat and bolted a screaming 64-horsepower 2-stroke Rotax engine with a giant propeller directly to the rear transom of the heavy rubber hull. It is an absolutely absurd-looking chimera. It literally looks like a rescue raft that got tangled up in a hang glider during a severe storm. But the crazy part is how flawlessly it works in the real world, used heavily for coastal tourism and amphibious exploration. You can start the roaring engine on the water, throttle up across the waves, and within a few hundred feet, that heavy rubber hull lifts directly into the sky. You are soaring thousands of feet in the air, sitting inside a literal inflatable boat. It is loud, it is windswept, and it is easily one of the most creatively unhinged pieces of recreational engineering on the planet. Imagine the shock of people on luxury yachts, watching a rubber dinghy take off and fly right over their masts. It proves that with enough thrust, you can make a boat fly. Now, if a flying rubber boat seems wild, our number 1 spot is a machine that breaks every rule of the road and the sky, fulfilling the ultimate backyard engineering dream. Taking our number 1 spot is the ultimate mechanical mutant, the Taylor Aerocar. Back in 1949, a brilliant mad scientist of an engineer named Molt Taylor wanted to solve the annoying problem of getting from the airport into the city. His solution was to build a compact car that actually tows its own wings behind it on a trailer. Under the hood sits a powerful 143-horsepower Lycoming aviation engine. A brilliant custom transmission seamlessly switches power, from driving the rear wheels on the road to spinning a rear-mounted propeller in the air. It looks incredibly bizarre, like a chopped-up Volkswagen Bug forcefully mashed into a Cessna airplane. When you arrive at the runway, you simply unhitch the trailer, bolt the long wings and the tail section directly onto the back of the tiny car, connect the rear propeller, and in 5 minutes, your daily driver transforms into a fully functioning airplane. Designed for wealthy businessmen who wanted the ultimate commuting machine, the Aerocar could hit 60 miles per hour on the highway and over 100 miles per hour up in the clouds. But here is the massive plot twist I promised you at the start. Despite looking like a crazy garage experiment, the Taylor Aerocar was a genuine triumph. It is the only machine on this entire list that was officially evaluated, tested, and granted full civilian flight certification by the United States Federal Aviation Administration. The government actually approved this flying car. Unfortunately, it was too expensive to catch on, but it remains the absolute king of insane, rule-breaking mechanical designs, proving that sometimes the craziest ideas actually work perfectly. These 10 machines represent the absolute limit of mechanical creativity. They show the raw human drive to conquer the skies, using whatever materials, chopped-up engines, and crazy ideas they could find. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these 10 did you find the absolute strangest? Would you have the guts to strap yourself into the Benson flying lawn chair? And is there a bizarre makeshift aircraft I completely missed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Next week, we are looking at 5 massive tractors that were literally built for war. You will not want to miss it.